So while we're on the subject of bleak futures and economic woes, let's bring you this story. So this is from the Graduate Center. Sounds very formal. And they just had this event. This is in New York City. They had this event where they had a bunch of aristocratic billionaires and all these, New York Times writers and stuff telling you how great the economy is. And they're worried not the economy being a factor for the election, but perceptions of the economy and the impact on the election. Oh, it's how people perceive it. It's how people think about the economy that's ruining the country. That's going to have an impact. That's why we got to censor more people. That's why we can't show blue collar workers that are working endlessly to barely make ends meet. That's why we can't show people and have news reports on how high their grocery bills are. It's the perceptions of the economy. And this is from Tuesday. And it says an expert panel discusses America's sentiment about the economy versus statistics and how it may affect the vote. Oh, look at those smiling faces that are going to lie to you. So why do many Americans feel down about the economy when indicators like the unemployment rate, GDP, and inflation show strength? What is affecting consumer sentiment, and how will it impact the election? How much do partisan politics, race, and class come into play? A panel of experts sheds light on the current economic landscape, featuring Paul Krugman, Nobel laureate, distinguished professor at the CUNY Graduate Center, a columnist for the New York Times, Farrah Stockman, editorial board at the New York Times, Pulitzer Prize winner, and author of American Made: What Happens to People When Work Disappears, and Ernie Tedeschi, I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't really care. Former chief economist at the White House Council for Economic Advisors and director of economics at the Yale Budget Lab. Oh, good. A bunch of Ivy League douchebags are going to tell you to suck it up because things are great. As opposed to getting teachers, as opposed to getting shipyard workers, as opposed to getting a trucker. Get their advice on how things are going. Blue collar workers, get a construction worker. You're in New York City. I'm sure there's hundreds of them. Get a cop. Get an emergency responder. Anybody. But a freaking Yale graduate. These Ivy League academics that have never actually seen firsthand the real struggles of hardworking individuals. And leading the discussion is Doreen T. Warren, co-president and Community Change Action and co-founder of the Economic Security Projection. Well, that just sounds like a great old time. That sounds like a real party right there. A bunch of ass-kissing academics that are going to scold regular people that everything's good, the economy is great, inflation's good. Remember when Stephen Colbert made that joke or tried to make a joke about it? Hey, I know your gas is like, $9 a gallon, but it's worth it for a clean conscience because we're killing more people in Ukraine and Russia. He was trying to make a joke about that. He was trying to make a joke about the fact that because of unchecked war powers, because of the military-industrial complex siphoning the economy and taking all of you hostage and ransom, that you are unable to fill up your gas tank to go to work. You are unable to put food on the table. You are unable to keep a roof over your head, to pay your electric bill, because you have a clean conscience for killing. How great does that sound? So here's at least one person who is not completely brainwashed and brain dead for this. Jose Vega. And you know about Jose Vega. We've featured him many times on this channel here. We showed his videos of he's running in the in New York District, the South Bronx, against Ritchie Torres, who is an unbelievable quack. Like, a cardboard cutout should be able to win against Ritchie Torres. That's how unbelievably crazy, unhinged this guy is. But Ritchie Torres is also backed by APEC, also backed by the War Machine, and gets a huge slush fund of money for being the pathetic shill that he is. At least Jose Vega is an actual free-thinking human being and is about to call out this horrific event and explain to them how really the economy is working for the people. Listen to this.
Okay. Uh-oh, Nobel Prize-winning economist here to tell us how great the economy is. I certainly wonder how the residents of Asheville, North Carolina must be feeling right now with no access to power or water or communication with the outside world. I wonder how enthusiastic they are about the economy right now. I wonder how enthusiastic the residents of the South Bronx must be feeling about the economy. Hey, maybe North Carolina should rename itself Israel so it'll get $20 billion in aid. Or maybe Ukraine so it can get $300 billion in aid. Maybe the South Bronx should do the same thing. I mean, I'm sure the economy is great for smug liberals like yourself who make $5 million and are worth $5 million. I'm sure the economy must be great for all you smug journalists, economists. All of you must be having a great time with the economy when most people can't even pay for basic necessities.
Oh, man.
For people who are getting evicted because they can't pay their rent. Because over in the South Bronx, just a few miles away from here, there are portions of buildings that are literally collapsing. And I'm supposed to give a shit about the stock market? You want to know why the presidential election is tied right now? Because our money is being sent to Israel and Ukraine so that they can continue to bomb innocent women and children. You think that's a great economy? I'm sure Israel, with their free health care, is having a great time with American taxpayer money. Hey, is anyone here going to talk about the fact that we could be in war with Iran in a few days? Or do we need to focus on the S&P 500? Is that what actually matters? Huh? The S&P 500? When most people may not even be alive here in a few days just because we're on the verge of nuclear war? Hey, listen to me, Mr. Krugman. Your degree is worthless. You might as well use it as paperweight because it means nothing. I hope you enjoy the dead children that the economy is powering. Our economy is definitely very powerful right now. All that stock market money goes to the military complex so that more innocent women and children are dead. And fuck off with the New York Times, the liberal apologists for war and genocide. You all fucking suck. People need to wake up right now, and we need to have peace. We can work with China. We can work with Russia. We don't need to start war with Iran. All right, I'm good. We're good.
Wow. That is incredible. That was like many mic drops. Like, wow. He is truly a baller. He is truly an amazing human being, and that is why we got to hate him so much. We got to hate this guy so much because, God forbid, he's talking about peace. He's talking about, hey, how about the fact that we just sent billions of dollars to a foreign corrupt nation for more killing when our own country is about to be wiped off from negligence of a hurricane? How about that? How about the fact that we're at the verge of nuclear war, and if it prevails, the stock market has no value. None of it matters. None of it matters when you're in a nuclear holocaust. None of that matters when a bomb goes off and destroys humanity. That was awesome. Applause to him. God, we need more figures like him in our lifetime. Thank God I'm around for this. This gives me hope. Seeing Jose Vega, seeing the clips that he's done with AOC and Ritchie Torres and Chuck Schumer. Did he do Chuck Schumer? Was it Chuck Schumer or someone else? I don't. There's too many to tell. But this gives me hope. This gives me hope, especially with the last story that we talked about here in Canada, how businesses are crumbling and how we have really no economic future at this point, how it's being sold off and traded off for endless war regime. Here in Canada, the peacekeeping nation, at least this gives me hope. This gives me so much hope that at least there's someone out there that is endlessly trying to start a conversation about how outrageous that we have smug, liberal, aristocratic academics standing on stage telling you how great the economy is because stock numbers are up when we're at the verge of jeopardizing our lives for nuclear war. And Jose Vega seems to be the only person, and I'm not saying that's the only person. There are few individuals, let's just say, there's very few individuals that could do what he just did there. Like, that is like an octo mic drop. Amazing. Like, this man should get an applause. This man should get a parade for what he just did there. And you can see there's so many conformists there that don't want to hear it. They're turning around going like, what? What are you talking about? There's the one guy that's waving his arms like, hey, that's enough truth out of you. That's enough truth. Go sit down. Go sit down. And a lot of the times, these smug asshole academics, these smugnerant liberals, to use that phrase, tend to not really care about it. Tend to not really care. They just, just some quack or whatever. And here's what Paul Krugman says, because he responded to that video. He responded and not responded in, hey, you actually have some interesting points. Maybe we discuss that further. No, he's trying to smack down Jose Vega for bringing information to the table. So Paul Krugman says last night, so Tuesday night, at a CUNY event about perceptions of the economy. Remember that. Just remember that. It's perceptions. It's not actual factors, not actual good information. It's just how people feel about the economy. We had a guy yelling about Biden refusing to help Helene victims who had to be escorted out. So Trump's lives have gone viral. So this is an individual that everything outside of his own mindset, everything outside of his own perception is considered Trumpian. This is a classic case of blue no matter who, blue and on, stuck in a cult, member of the Democratic establishment. Because this guy can't even give a notion to what anything that Jose Vega mentioned there. But he immediately denounces it as Trump lies. It's all Trump lies. Well, as we've been reporting here, the Biden administration, and even Biden himself, as he was boarding Air Force One, said that there's nothing they could do for the hurricane victims. As they sent more money off to Ukraine, as they sent more money off to Israel. So Paul Krugman is a colossal dumbass. For a smart guy, he is a colossal dumbass because he wants to fold himself off, into the establishment for his career. He wants access. He wants to climb that career ladder. And if you want to be the academiac that wants to talk about the perceptions of the economy, whatever the hell, like literally feelings about the economy, then you are going to not listen to people. You're not going to listen to outsider thoughts that are actually critical about things, that actually have key factors of how bad the economy is. Not to mention cost of living, groceries. Again, you have a panelist full of stuck-up liberals of high elite institutions, but you not have a single blue-collar worker at this event. Go get someone from the streets. Go get a waitress. Go get a waitress. Ask them how they feel about the economy. Ask regular Joes and Janes on the street how they feel the economy is going. Instead of just getting a bunch of New York Times writers and columnists that are paying to play for Wall Street. And that's when Jose Vega, so technically he tweeted this out first, and Jose Vega, while posting that video, said, "Yeah, that was me, you twat. Enjoyed the video in full, you quackademic." That was incredible. That's incredible. It also says underneath that, let me bring up this tweet here. So underneath that video, Jose Vega also responds, "Krugman thinks we should be talking about the perceptions of the economy, just like he thinks we should be talking about the perceptions of Biden. I think we should talk about the ongoing genocide and rampant deindustrialization. Krugman is an agent of permanent bureaucracy who personally profits off death and deprivation. I am an independent citizen taking up the mantle of candidate for federal office in a poorest congressional district in the United States during a financial collapse. Krugman could take his perceptions and paint me a neo-impressionist painting of his eventual meaningless demise. I'll buy it for $1." Dude, this guy is just killing it. This guy is just killing it. So, and like you said there, he is running for the South Bronx for 15th District in New York against Ritchie Torres, who's a complete doopy moron for the Zionist cult, complete doopy moron for, as he says there, permanent bureaucracy, because that's what they want. They want establishment control, and that's why they rather talk about the feelings of the economy than the actual factors. And they're not really going to show you any facts at that event. They're just going to show you a graph and go, look, colorful numbers, they're all green. Charts are going off the roof. Well, what do those charts mean? I don't care. They're going off the roof. That's how great it is. Tell that to someone that's barely making affordability to pay for food stamps. Tell that to the hardworking individual that's working 3 or 4 jobs so that they could feed their families. Tell that to the hurricane victims that lost everything. And finally, after all this time, Kamala Harris decides to come forward and say, yeah, we're just going to give them a $700 check. We're not going to rebuild their house. We're not going to actually do anything to give them food or water or communication. We're just going to pay them a check and leave. We're going to buy out their silence. And at least with Trump's case, when he buys out silence, it's usually a couple million. Let's just say that. So, Jose Vega, kudos to him. Great job, as always. And for anyone in attendance of that rally, for anyone in attendance of, the Paul Krugmans and the other establishment elite class, go screw yourself. That's all I could say.